Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Shishyam Sri Shankaracharya Matasya Padma Padam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Todakam Vartikakaramanyaan Asmadgurun Santatamanatosmi Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Roka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham. Fear is caused by uncertainty. Yeah, please come, otherwise I can't see you. Fear is caused by uncertainty, absence of knowledge, and also loss of what we hold dear to us. So the fear is about not having objects or beings which we think which are source of our happiness. Therefore, we love them. So the fear is caused by attachment, in other words. Fear is caused by inability to think certainly about what will happen. Uncertainty. Third, fear is caused by absence of knowledge about a thing which I don't know what it is. That also can cause fear. Now, let us look at the one, attachment. How attachment causes fear? Attachment, why do we get attached to anything? Because it is a source of joy. And so attachment, it does not directly cause fear. It is inability to let go the notion of happiness on objects and beings. If you don't serve me eggplant, I'm not at all worried about it, because I don't have a notion of happiness in that. Whereas if you don't give me rasagulla, then I'll be really unhappy about it. Because I think it is a source of my joy. On the other day I was there in somebody's house, and without knowing, they gave me gulab jamun. It was nice, very nicely made. So the person offered to me. He's not an Indian, he was a American. So I said, no, I gave up. You mean you hate it? No, I love it. Then why did he give up? Because he has no concept of that. If you love it, why do you give up? Because I love intensely, I have to give up. See, he didn't understand. Why? What's the reason? What's the problem? Said, see, when we have intense love on something, and intense idea of happiness in something, we get attached to it. And so giving up that which you love the most reduces your fear and sorrow to that extent. But it is hard. Definitely it is hard. So it is a notion of happiness that we have is what is causing fear, and not the object or a person. Now we apply this same thing to all things that we have happiness notion about, then that is called vairagya. Kasya sukam na karoti vairaga. What vairagya cannot give you, what dispassion cannot give you, it gives you greatest fearlessness. Abhayam dadati. So if we can apply that anything and everything that I have a notion of happiness, if I can give up that, then we realize that because of attachment, I will never get fear. That's one step we have crossed. Right. Second is uncertainty. Now, nobody can tell what is tomorrow, what is next moment. Our Guruji used to say, the fellow who is sitting with the parrot to decide about your future. In India, we have that. The fellow is sitting under a tree with a parrot. It's like a tarot card, or what do you call that? Tarot here? Tarot card, right? So there it is parrot card, not tarot card. So and when you go there, and then he will ask the parrot, he'll open the cage. Parrot comes and picks up one and gives it to him. And that he will start reading as though that is your future. So the parrot decides your future. Not decides, predicts. So if the parrot can predict somebody's future, why not he predict this fellow's future? Why is he sitting under a tree there? So uncertainty is that which we do not know what is going to happen. Nobody can say that. Nobody can surely say this is what is going to happen. So about uncertainty, the fear is caused by absence of proper thinking. That's all it is. Jo hona hai, hone do. At the same time, we should be ready to meet the unpredictables. Unpredictable remain as unpredictable anyways. But we must be ready to face the unpredictable. That preparation, that mental strength needs to come. Whatever comes, I am ready to face it. That requires mental strength, viveka buddhi. The third one is ajnanam. Ajnanam means here, misunderstanding is more than absence of knowledge. If I misunderstand something, that also can cause fear. So if I have not understood who I am, then I have misunderstanding about everybody. Because I myself do not know who I am, and I can never predict or know why others are behaving the way they are behaving. If I myself do not know why I'm behaving this way, unpredictability about the world outside, I can understand. But if I myself is unpredictable, then what will you do? So not knowing oneself, one's own true nature, and because of which I am attached to my mind, because of which whatever thought comes to my mind, I take it as real, because of which I act according to the mind, that is called ajnanam here. Ignorance. So here, student asked this question very clearly. Katam tareyam, how do I cross this? Bhavasindhu metam kava gatirme kadamostupaya janena kinchit kripaya vamam prabhu samsaru dukkha kshatima tanushva ityadi. What is the answer that is given by the teacher here? The teacher has given, do not have any fear. So that's what we read, verse number 43. We read here. Ma baishta vidvan tava nastyapayah samsara sindhos taranostyupayah yenaiva yata yatayosya param tameva margam tava nirdishami ma vaishta vidvan stava nastyapayah samsara sindhos taranostyupayah yenaiva yata yatayosya param tameva margam tava nirdishami. Ma vaishta, be fearless. Don't worry. Ma, do not. Vaishta, bhayam gacha, do not have fear. Ma bhut bhayam iti. He vidvan bhavan mai vaishta bhavato bhayam ma bhut iti. Sahasa abhidihi datta. Sahasa, spontaneously, this teacher first thing has to give is abhayam. If you go to the doctor and they have the stomach trouble or some other trouble, the first thing the doctor says assurance. Not today, they don't give assurance. They'll ask insurance. Before assurance, insurance. Insurance hai kya? Then assurance hai. Surety of the solution. So don't worry. Don't be afraid. See, Bhagavan also says, Ashochan anvashochastvam prajnavadam sabhashase. You are worrying about something you should not worry about. That is the first thing he said. Ma shucha. Last verse of Gita is Bhagavan Krishna says, Ma shucha. There is not be no sorrow for you. For what we have to be fearless there? Asti na asti apaya. There is no danger here for you. Meaning, you are thinking that I will just get drowned in the samsara dukkha, samsara sagara. No. Samsara sagara tarane, for the crossing over of this ocean of change, asti, there is upaya, method. There's a method to get out of, move out of this or cross over the ocean. Bhagavan Krishna says in Gita that there is the nauka or the boat is there available. There is a beautiful boat available which will help you to cross this ocean. Why I am sure that there is this the possibility of crossing is there. Vidvan iti sambodhayan vivekatikam sambatya guru karunam vina dukkha taranam na bhavati Mam praptah tvam jnatavyam jnanisha eva iti suchayati. By saying Vidwan, meaning a intelligent one, saying that you have gained all the discrimination properly, therefore you recognize that Guru Karunam bina dukkha taranam na bhavati. Without the grace of the teacher, there is no possibility of crossing over this ocean. Therefore, mam praptahastvam. Therefore, you have come to me. Jnatavyam janishe eva iti. You will get what you wanted to know. Iti suchayati. That's what is indicated here. Tadrashasya tava sadhu yatokta karinaha nasti apayaha. Bhagavan Krishna also said, when Arjuna asked this question, let us say I follow your instruction all right, all the way, but suddenly if a person like me has not reached the ultimate goal but dies in between, or before reaching the goal, his life has ended, then what happens? All over, I have to start all over again from zero. A for apple, B for box, C for cat. There'll be a terrible tragedy, right? Having learned this much of Vedanta, Swamiji, next birth, if I become a crocodile, what will happen then? Such a tragedy. So Bhagavan said, don't worry. Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tadagachati. No one who has taken up this path of spiritual knowledge will ever get any tragedy of that kind of useless birth. Kalyanakrit na durgatim gachati. One who has taken up to this path of auspiciousness will never be going back to their old ways. Even if you have not achieved in this life, you will start from where you have stopped, from the previous life where you stopped, you start here. There is no doubt about that. Iti smritehe ata kadam tareyam kavagadiri ma eva baishi ityartaha evam ma baisha tava kalyana kartuh apayaha nasti iti tam ashvasya. Kadam, how is that you are saying that there is a way to cross this ocean? Uttaramaha samsara sindhoho tarana asti upayati tatra samyak vishwasa utpatyartam tam upayam sapramanam katayati. See, anything that we want, first of all, is a proof. If I am telling you, if I am even selling you a product, what is the proof? That's why now they show, no? This is from the ordinary washing powder. And here, yeah, they always say this is whiter, brighter, cleaner. They show you. Likewise, can you show me a proof? So here it is in the second line, it says, Yatayaha asya param yenaiva yata. Tameva margam tava nirdishami. By which very way the men of excellence in the past have crossed over, that very method I'm going to teach you. Not anything else. It is already tested. Yeneva margena asya samsara sindhoho param antam yataya prayatnashilaha sanyasinaha yataha tameva margam tava nirdishami upadishami ityartha. So the teaching is not coming out of the intelligence of the teacher alone. It is definitely proven to be the path instructed to him by his own teachers, and it has come for many, many generations. And if let us say that if it is not a real, solving solution, then it would have lost its ways a long time back. How long you can bluff? And if it has no real solution, halfway through it would have gone. Isn't it? No, the same bluff cannot be repeated again and again and again and again. It was Hitler who said, if you keep repeating the same bluff over and over again, at some point of time, it will become truth. That is his statement. If you keep repeating something, saying the people start believing it. And that's why he was dead against this whole concept of religion. Even Mussolini was like that. So it is not a bluff. Sakalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Bhagavan Krishna said that over a period of time, people stopped practicing and therefore it appeared to have lost its value. But the teaching is not really has lost itself. It is true that time, many thousands of years back also, great masters have used it to cross this great ocean of samsara. The same thing without any kind of impurity added to it. I'll teach you. Nirdishami. Tenaiva tameva margam tava nirdishami. Tadrisha marga shusrushaya motkadya siddhyartam punarabi samanya rupena eva upayam nirdashati asti. Iti. To just make him further to give him some utsaha, give him some more inspiration, one who is interested to learn or listen. So again, the teacher says in an assurance in the next verse, verse number 44, Astyupayo mahan kaschit samsara bhayanashanah tena tirtha bhavambodim paramanandam apsyasi. Astyupayo mahan kaschit samsara bhayanashanah tena tirtva bhavam bodhim paramanandam apsyasi. So here he says, not only you cross over to the other side of this great ocean of change, tena tirtva bhavam bodhim, not only that, not only shoka nivritti that you will have or removal of that bhaya nivritti, but at the same time, you will also gain paramananda prapti. Atyanta dukkha nivritti, paramananda prapti. These are the two important things, goals of this knowledge. So therefore he says, Mahan kaschit asti upaya. A great solution is there for you. Samsara bhayanashanaha mahan bahavaha ayasa sadhya sadhana sadhyaha kaschit upaya asti tena vakshyamana upayena bhavam bodhim dustaram samsara sagaram tirtva tan moolabodham avidyanam bhangtva paramanandam niravadikam shashvatam santosham apsyasi lapyase. See, it is true that when we go to the state of deep sleep, we feel joy and happiness, the peace there, right? But that is only shoka nivritti, that you only tarkalika shoka nivritti, temporary solution for our problem. That's why people even drink. Why? Temporarily I will get relieved from. It's like, what do you call that? Pain killer. You take a painkiller, so there for a short period of time, you may be relieved from the pain. But after some time, when the effect of the medicine is over, effect of the drink is over, or when you wake up, starts. So shoka nivritti takes place, but first of all, it is tarkali, temporary. It's not a complete elimination. Second is the ananda or the joy, so-called joy that we receive or experience in sleep. It is absence of sorrow and not experience of the bliss in a positive manner. The bliss of Brahman is not experienced. Proximity of Brahman is experienced. What is proximity of Brahman? Chitta vritti nirodha. There is no modification of the mind in the state of sleep. So when there is no modification of thoughts in the mind due to arresting of the thoughts or the sublimation of thoughts in sleep, there is a proximity of that Brahman is reached, but not recognition, realization of it. That is the reason why people feel so fresh, so fully, ready next day after a deep, good sleep. I'm ready. Why? Because of the rejuvenation created by absence of tiredness created by the mind. See, actually, physically, we are not as much tired as mentally we are tired. And I worked up so much and so many problems and so many things. Let me sleep. What happens in sleep? There is a temporary relief from all their mental agitations. Tiredness is removed. How many of us are physically tired, you tell me, nowadays? Are we working 8 hours in the hot sun on a field where we are tilling this land, or driving a tractor, or carrying a load on our back? What tiredness we have in today's world? Swamiji, I'm tired of listening to your Vedanta also. We are tired mentally. That mental tiredness goes away when we stop thinking, quietening the mind for some time. And then we feel fresh. But that is only temporary. But therefore, here, shoka nivritti, removal of sorrow caused by the thought agitations, etc., is one thing. But here he says, not only that you have, that you get rid of the shoka, but paramananda avapsyasi. You will also get true bliss of Brahman. It is not just absence of thoughts. So that is why he says, Tena tirtva bhavam bodhim paramanandam avapsyasi. Tena dukkha nivritti reva tvaya kamyate. You only desire dukkha nivritti. He tells the student, you only want dukkha nivritti. Maya upadekshamaanaha upayena tu dukkam api atyantam nivartate. Not only the total eradication of the sorrow or the sorrow, nitya niradishaya ananda avir bhavascha tava bhavati. There is a revelation of the Brahmananda, the bliss of Brahman, also you get it. Therefore, it's called Mahan Upaya. The great method or great means for overcoming this. Shishya atyantam apayeta iti bhava. Surely you get it. So therefore, now the teacher says, I'll tell you what needs to be done. What is the upaya? What is the method? Verse number 45. Vedantartha vicharena jayate jnanamuttamam tenatyantika samsara dukkha nasho bhavatyano. Vedantartha vicharena jayate jnanamuttamam tenatyantika samsara dukkha nasho bhavatyano. Vedantasya artha Vedantartha. It's a compound. Vedantasya artha. Sashti Tatpurusha Samas. Vedantasya artha. Yeah. So that which is the Artha meaning, now more than meaning, purpose. Artha word can be used for, Artha word is used for many other purpose thing also. Purpose is one meaning, goal is another meaning, wealth is another meaning, meaning is another meaning. Artha. Artha also means wealth. Artha means Artha means a purpose. Artha means goal. So here, Vedanta Artha. We will take the Vedanta Artha in the sense of the meaning of Vedanta. Vedanta nama Upanishad Pramanam. What is Vedanta? It is what is said in the Upanishad is what is called Vedanta. The Vedic literature is divided broadly into two parts. That is Purva Mimamsa and Uttara Mimamsa. Mimamsa is, the very word Mimamsa means analysis. Purva Mimamsa is the first part. Two parts under another, the first one. There, the purpose of that Mimamsa, the analysis, is to find the ways and means to become happy. Mostly it is about karma. Karma as the upaya to gain maximum joy, maximum happiness. In that, again, there are two parts. What are the two parts? Jnata and Ajnata. Drishya, Adrishya. Drishya rupena sukha prapti, Adrishya rupena sukha prapti. So, what do we mean by that is, by whatever is perceived by us in this world, with that, how do I get the maximum happiness? Whatever is unseen by us, by which I can give the maximum happiness. That is in the Karma Marga. So where we find the rituals are prescribed, and these rituals are prescribed for two purposes. One, for gaining happiness in this world, Asmin Loke. Also, the rituals are meant for gaining heavenly pleasures in Parasmin Loke, in other Paraloka. Paraloka means that unseen world. Now, when it comes to Uttara Mimamsa, the second part of the Mimamsa, it does not have karma as the means, not action, not ritual, not upasana. None of the methods that are said or suggested in the Purva Mimamsa is accepted or said to be the means for higher happiness in the Uttara Mimamsa. Meaning, Upanishad does not say rituals can take you to the ultimate joy, which is everlasting. Though they do agree that the rituals that are prescribed in the previous Purva Mimamsa can give you definitely more happiness than what you can enjoy in the world, which is in the form of heavenly pleasures. That much they assure you, but that is also temporary only. Because anything that is karma, done by karma and gained, must end. Karmana jatam sarvam kshanikam bhavati, alpam bhavati. Only alpa, only limited. So what is the main subject matter of this Uttara Mimamsa? That is Atma Jnanam, Atma Vidya. So when it says Vedanta, it means Atma Vidya. We should understand knowledge about the self, which is what is given as the Vedanta. So Vedanta Artha Vicharena. Jnanam Vicharena Sambhavati. Knowledge can happen only when you do thinking. Thoughtless knowledge is only information. So when the teacher says something and just you repeat the same thing, isko mein vichar kya hai? You just repeat what somebody has said. You don't need to think about it. But where you need to do the vichara and then gain your own insight into that, that is what is called jnana. Therefore, he says, Vedantartha vicharena jayate uttamam jnana. That correct knowledge. Vedanam antaha vedantaha upanishadaha tasam yo arthaha tad vicharena upakrama upasamharadi shadvida tatparya lingaihi pradibhadyamanaha. So, in any study of any scripture, there are 6 aspects you must understand. I think we saw in Vedanta, what is it called? What is it? What is that book? Vedanta Sara. Upakrama, Upasamhara, Abhyasa, Apurvata, Phalam, Arthavada, and Anupalabdhi. Yeah. Yeah, these are the 6 aspects of any study. So when we take up any study, what we might make sure is what is said in the beginning and what is said at the end must be the same. Anything you take up, when you start with, okay, this is my proposition, this is how it has to start. At the end, it should conclude in the same way. Otherwise, there'll be a problem, right? By jnana, you can gain the ultimate knowledge, ultimate joy. Conclusion. Therefore, jnana is useless. You cannot go that way. Upakrama, upasamhar. It should be the same. Then, abhyas. What needs to be practiced? By reading something, you must get something to practice. Or by listening to somebody's talk, you must be going home with. So then nowadays, what is the take home? That is already thought of by our masters. Abhyas, meaning what is to be practiced. That needs to be the 3rd factor. 4th one is apurvata, meaning even if you are reading a book or listening to something, there must be a uniqueness about it. It is not somebody, whatever somebody has said, you repeat the same thing. Then why should I listen to you? There must be uniqueness. There must be something which now others have not said that you want to show. That's why what interests people. Apurvata. Then you must also mention what is the phalam. What is the result of this reading or listening, etc. Then arthavada. Arthavada is where you praise the very knowledge itself. Why it is praiseworthy, why it is significant, why it is important. Then finally it is Anupalabdhi. No, upapatti. Upapatti, not anupalabdhi, upapattis. Upapatti is where you demonstrate. You show the practice of it. You demonstrate it. This is how it is done. So these are the 6 aspects of any study. Meaning, introduction, number 1, and conclusion, number 2. Both must be the same. 3rd one is that it has to show you what is the practice to be done. 4th factor is what is the uniqueness of it. 5th factor is what is the prayojanam or the result of this knowledge? Sixth one is how to do. Demonstration. So this is how Vedanta is taught. Pratibhadyamanaha sajadiya vijadiya swagada beda rahitaha nitya shuddha buddha mukta swabhavaha paramatma tasya vicharena tan nirnaya anukula manasa vyaparena uttamam jnanam samshaya bhavana bhavanadi ashabaladam jnanam nirnayah jayate. The knowledge is complete only when, this Atma Jnanam is complete only when your mind naturally is able to take up the thought of that absolute truth without getting differentiated or deviated by all other various concerns and other thought processes. And there is a one-pointed single thought flow towards the higher truth. If that takes place, that is called Uttamam Jnana. You know, our Guruji used to say, there are three kinds of, people. Moksha chahiye, ab dete hai to de lete hain. Meaning, you want the liberation, if you want to give me, I will take it. It is up to you. If you want to give, I will take it. That should be free, Second category of people is, de do, main sochunga. You give me, let me think about it. Third one is, I want it for sure. I beg it, I seek it, I love it, I want it, I want nothing else. So to a person who is of this category of who wants that and that alone, while listening itself, it will be complete. He doesn't need to go and sit to do some vichara again. Because along with the teacher, he does the vichara. The teacher does not teach from the book. He teaches from his own thinking. So when the teacher, while explaining itself, he does the vichar, if the student has tuned to that, he will continue to gain the same vichara marga as even the teacher is traveling there. Because the Guru is doing a bahya mananam while teaching. While teaching, he is doing a external vichar. He is externally bringing his own thought process, how he is thinking while he is talking itself. See, there are some teachers who, before the class itself, prepare the problem and solution and come to the class. And so what they do, they just vomit. This is the problem. Step 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, answer, over. But a true teacher is one who will challenge himself. He will come with the problem for him to work it out there, not before. So that the student will also participate in that. Okay, let us put the problem here. What do you think? What will be the next step? Then you will know who are all thinking. What is the next step? Tell me. So far we have studied. What is the next step? So along with the teacher, along with the student, the solution is worked out. So such a teacher and such a student who is able to tune oneself towards along with the teacher, such a person gets the mananam, shravana mananam at the same time. And because of which the student knows how to think also. Because if this teacher comes with the answer and the problem solution also there, he does not know how he did that. Because it is already prepared by this teacher and come there to only show it to him. But what is the step he has taken? Step number 1, how did he arrive at that? Step number 2, how to think and arrive at this. Step number 3, how to think and arrive at this. That vichar, how to think. So that is why it is said, vicharena tattva jnanam, uttamam jnanam sambhavati. That's why he read tad nirnaya anukula manasa vyaparena. Manasa vyapara means the activity of the mind coherently with that kind of thinking. Uttamam jnanam samshaya bhavanadi ashabalitam, undifferentiated by any doubt, undistracted by any doubt. Jnanam nirnaya jayate. Tena nirnayena atyantika samsara dukkha nashaha. See, in Gita also, Bhagavan might have easily said first itself, what are you thinking? Everything is decided by me. Just to show your hand here and there, I'm done with that. He walked through with him for 700 verses. Okay, think about like this, or think like this, or think like this. How many steps he has went with Arjun, and answering all his questions also. So that the vichara, the thinking that is done by the student is pretty much close to the way the teacher thinks. And the teacher will be very happy only when the student also gained the method of thinking. Until then, the teacher will not be happy. You're still holding on to something else, or you are still holding on to the book, or still holding on to something else for you to arrive at a solution. That means you don't know. So if you go to your doctor and you tell that I have this problem, wait, let me refer to the book. That means what? You have never got the practice of it. Tena nirnayena atyantik samsara dukkha nashaha samanadikarana dukkha prag bhava prag bhava samana kalika dukkha nashaha anutar nirnaya anubatam bhavati bhavishyati ityartha. So, see, it is not that knowledge takes place and after that the shoka nivaran takes place, or removal of dukkham, removal of sorrow. While the knowledge taking place itself, there is a destruction of sorrow. It is not okay, now I'm practicing. After practice, some 10 days later, then there will be an answer to that. Because when we start looking at the problem, we realize that this is only because of lack of thinking, there is a problem. When I start thinking, the problem slowly dissolves itself at the same time. That's why he says, samana kalika dukkha nasha. Jnaan hote hue hi dukkha ka nash ho jata hai. It is not like I have some physical disease, you take the medicine and wait. So one person went to the doctor and said, I have this serious stomachache, what do I do? So the doctor said, this I'm giving you medicine every day. After breakfast, you take one pill. In 10 days time, you will be all right. Okay. Can I take all the 10 pills at the same time? You can take, you will not come back. Then because the medicine will work according to certain time limit. You cannot take the entire medicine at one shot and then expect the solution. No, it won't. Unlike that, that's why in Gita also it said, pratyavayo na vidyate. There is no side effect here. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little you take, to that extent your fear will be gone. So as even you are looking at your problem with the right knowledge and vichara, that there is the end of the problem you will start seeing there itself. Because you realize that it is the lack of correct thinking that has caused this problem. When I move from the lack of correct thinking to proper way of approaching the issue, then and there, that very moment itself, slowly, dukkha nasha will take place. There's no need for waiting period there. Samakalika. That's why I say, Dukkanashah samanadhikarana. Samanadhikarana at the same time, simultaneously. So that is why the teacher says upaya asti. Do not worry about. There is the solution for this Vedanta vichara. Now, idanim tadrsha nirnaya sadharana hetuna aha. Shraddha ityadina. Now, what is this Vedanta vichar? Kaisa karna hai? How do we do the deliberation thinking of Vedanta? Upanishad Vakyas, Upanishad teaching. What are the ingredients for the vichar? So it is said in the next verse, verse number 46. Shraddha Bhakti, no, Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogat Mumukshoho. Mukte hedutvatita sakshat mukter hetun bhakti sakshat shrutergihi. Yo va yete sveva tishtatyamushya. Moksho vidya kalpita deha bandhat. Shraddha bhakti dhyana yogan mumuksho mukter hetun bhakti sakshat shrutergi. Yo va yete sveva tishtatyamushya. Moksho vidya kalpita deha bandhat. Avidya kalpita hedu bandhat moksha. What is moksha? What is called liberation here? Avidya kalpita, kalpitat. That which is caused by the ignorance, deha bandhat moksha. Bondage caused by the identification with the body, that very bondage is removed. That is what is called moksha here. Now, again, we must make it clear in our mind, moksha is not a place to go, a abode. Moksha dham. Moksha dham kya hai? Koi desh hai? Is it a place? A sthan? A place where we have to go and dwell? If you think like that, then you will be utterly disappointed by this statement. Liberation is not an abode, a place of dwelling. It is a state of freedom from the body identification. Body here means all limited identifications. So what is the method of that? Mumukshoho, for the seekers of liberation, muktehe hetun bhakti. The causes or the means for liberation is spoken by what? Sakshat Shrudehe Gihi, by the Upanishad statements. What are the causes or what causes this mukti? Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogat. Mumukshoho muktehe hetu mukti. Faith, devotion, meditation. These three. This is spoken in Kaivalya Upanishad also. The student approaches. What is the student there? Ashwalayana. He went and asked this question. What question he asked? Atihi Bhagavan Brahma Vidyam Varishtam Sada Sadbihi Sevyamanam Nigudam Yaya Chirat Sarva Papam Vyapohya Parat param purusham yati vidwan tasmai sahovacha pitamahascha Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga Davehi. In Kaivalya Upanishad, it is said, the student asked, what do I need to do? What is the method of reaching there? So three things you must keep in mind: faith, devotion, and meditation. Tatra Shraddha Guru Vedanta Vakya Vishwasah Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya iti ityadina rakshitaha. Earlier also it is said that. That is, Guru Vedanta Vakya Vishwasa. The teacher, that when he teaches this great knowledge, one must have absolute faith in that. Also in the Shastra, in the scriptures that talk about it. Bhakti swaswarupa anusandhanam nididhyasanam dhyanam. What is bhakti? The greatest love is devotion, is the absolute love with no other contamination about the self. Many times when we say bhakti, we think immediately a karma. Fasting, feasting, going to pilgrimage, going to a temple, doing arati, and then doing ritual. They should be completely taken out and said, these are all karma, not bhakti. Bhakti bhava rupa. Bhakti is, devotion is in the form of refined emotion. The emotion can be expressed in the form of an action. So कर्म से भक्ति नहीं होता है, भक्ति से कर्म हो सकता है. कर्म करने से भक्ति नहीं होता है. By action you will not give a devotion. By devotion you may do appropriate action. So bhava rupa hai bhakti. And what is bhava rupa here? Of the nature of swaswarupa anusandhanam. So where one is able to turn the attention towards the self, which is most dear to everyone. Dhyanam tatra pratyayeka ekadanata dhyanam. Single pointed attention. Iti sutritam samyak avasthanam samyak sthapanam buddhehe shuddhe brahmani sarvada iti. Lakshitam samadhanam. So, Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana. And if you take yoga as another word, then it is yoga chitta vritti nirodha. It is a stopping of the mind. So now let me put it that way. Shraddha is, faith is having implicit trust in the words of the teacher and the scripture, number one. Bhakti is the next step. When I have a complete faith in someone or something, my mind will be able to grasp the knowledge without any doubt, and it will be able to dwell on it without any interruption. When we have listened to someone whom we trust, we don't need to think too much about it, right? When we have no trust or no faith in somebody's words, then we say either we don't take it or we doubt it. We drop it as it is. I don't even trust it. We leave it. We don't even think about it. Or we think with a lot of doubt. Where there is faith, there is no doubt. So bhakti is where doubtless abidance or doubtless redirection of the mind on the object of our focus of our goal. All right. Now, even as the mind is able to turn towards the self, which we love, there can be other distractions because of vasanas, because of the desire, etc. So, not allowing all other thoughts to come in, exclusively thinking about only that is dhyanam. And ultimately, the thought that is rising, going towards that same goal must end and merge. And that end of the thought is called yoga. That is what is called Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Now here he says, Tata Tatra Shraddha Sarvatra Hetu. Faith is the primary cause of all of them. Shraddha nahi hai to bhakti nahi hoga. See, when you go to a temple or church, if you do not think that God's presence is there in that form, if you don't have faith in it, what will you do there? That's why, when you go with the children, you may be going there and doing namaskar, and then, with all that. They were standing there. Because they are also seeing the same form only. But when you have a faith and is doing salutation, he does not have that faith that there is holy presence of the God is there, then you stand there. Maybe we take a picture. Then you force him. Chalo, namaskar karo. Karta hun. He has no intention to do it. Because no faith. So श्रद्धा के बिना भक्ति नहीं हो सकता है. वो तो ठीक है. Without Shraddha, how do you dhyanam? How do you do the meditation if you do not believe in the goal? How does the mind stay there? Without the faith, how the mind will one-pointedly quieten itself from all other distractions and stay focused? How does it do that then? And without that Shraddha, how can there be quietening followed by stopping of the mind? Even if you say somebody, you have to stop your mind. Why? What's the problem? But you have to reach the state of inner quietude. I have no faith in that. So yoga mein nahi hoga. So Shraddha Sarvatra Hetu. Bhakti Dhyana Yoganam Madhye Uttarottarasya Purva Purva Hetutvam. Chitta Vritti Nirodhe Samadhanasya Tasmin Shruta Acharya Upadesha Manu Swaswarupa Anusandhana Rupa Nididhyasanasya Sambhavat. We'll take this up a little later because he will explain how the bhakti, dhyana, and yoga, devotion, meditation, and discipline of thinking, bringing end of the mind, these three are supporting each other. One is going to be the cause of the other. So we'll see that how bhakti will lead to dhyanam, dhyanam will lead to yoga. So that we'll see in the next session. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkhabhat bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.